Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our biology class. And today I'm going to talk about the biological processes that are involved in our environment. So there are many ways in which these processes involved in biogeochemical cycles, and this can be classified into many processes. One is biological processes, which and second is geological processes, third chemical and physical processes, and fourth human activities. So I'm going to tackle this one by one. So first thing you can see here on the picture on the left side, the biological processes. So you can see here these animals eating the grasses and these sunflowers here. Biological processes consist of all activities performed by living organisms. These processes include eating, as you can see here, these sheep are eating the grasses. This includes breathing, burning food, and eliminating waste products. So that's biological processes. When we speak of geological processes, these include the eruptions of the volcanoes. Okay, as you can see here in this picture, volcanoes, the lava and magma, the formation and breakdown of rocks, and major movements of matter within and below the surface of the earth. So this is called geological processes. From the word geo means earth. Next one, we have chemical and physical processes. As you can see here in the picture on the left side, these include the formation of clouds and precipitation, just like right now. We are having precipitation, sleet, snow, and rain. This is the chemical and physical processes. The flow of running water. Okay, yesterday in my place, our water it turned into solid. So that's one way. And the action of lightning too is a chemical and physical processes. Okay, it's a chemical and physical process. All right. So next one is the human activity, our activity as humans. So as you can see here, okay, human activities that affect cycles of matter on a global scale include the mining. You can see here mining, finding some gold and all other fossil fuels or burning of fossil fuels as well. The clearing of land for building and farming or purposes of improving or putting household or housing or malls. So those are human activities. The burning of forests and even the manufacturers and use of fertilizers are human activities. So these are called the biogeochemical processes, okay? Or biogeochemical processes. So in this process, I have discussed this before, the water cycle. Okay, every time you see rain or snow, just like this time, you're seeing snow all over the place here in Arkansas, in all other states, or even watch a river flow, you are witnessing part of the water cycle. Do you know that? So this water continuously moves between the oceans and the atmosphere and land, and sometimes outside living organisms and sometimes inside them. Okay, so you can see here in this figure the water falls to the surface as precipitation. Surface runoff leads through rivers to lakes and oceans, and some water seeps into the ground and becomes groundwater, right? The groundwater is taken up by the plant roots again, then transpiration happens or the evaporation of water in plants and released back to the atmosphere. So this is just a cycle. The water is just a cycle. So water from the lakes and the ocean as well evaporates and then condenses to form clouds. So those blue ones are called the biological processes. In the red ones here, red arrows are the physical and chemical processes. We have also nutrient cycles. Okay, why is it important that the nutrients should be cycled? Right, the chemical substance that an organism needs to sustain life, they are called nutrients. We people, plants, animals, bacteria, and all other organisms. Every organism needs nutrients to build tissues and carry out life functions, right? Like water, nutrients pass through organisms and the environment through biogeochemical cycles. The three pathways or cycles that move carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus through the biosphere are especially critical for life. So as you can see here on the left side, the oxygen in the biosphere are needed by this animal, this sheep, bighorn sheep. Okay? And this may be taken up by producers and re-released as oxygen gas. So together, the respiration process and photosynthesis contribute to oxygen cycling through the biosphere. We have also the carbon cycle. We have talked about this during our first unit. This is just a review to you. Carbon is a major component of all organic compounds, yes. So from the food we eat, carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids contain carbon. In fact, carbon is really the key ingredients of living tissue and ecosystem that life on Earth is often described as carbon-based life. Okay? So carbon in the form of calcium carbonate, that is CaCO3, is important component of many different kinds of animal skeletons and is also found in several kinds of rocks, this carbon. Carbon and oxygen form carbon dioxide, that is CO sub 2, which is a very important component of the atmosphere, right? And is dissolved in oceans. So some carbon containing compounds that were once part of ancient forests have been buried on the ground and transformed by geological processes into coal. So those are the carbons turned into coal. The bodies of marine organisms containing carbon have also been transformed into oil or natural gas, which is really, really good and expensive as well. So coal, oil, and natural gas are often referred to us as fossil fuels. We know that one, right? So what are those fossil fuels? We have the coal, oil, natural gas are examples of those. And this reservoir of carbon in the biosphere include the atmosphere, the oceans, rocks, fossil fuels, and forests. So as you can see here on this figure, the carbon dioxide, right? So we have the blue one represents the biological processes, yellow one represents the human activities, the green one geological processes, and the red one represents the physical and chemical processes of this carbon cycle, right? Carbon dioxide dissolves in rainwater. Yes, you know that. Carbon dioxide dissolves in oceans and returns to the atmosphere as well. Yes, the burning of forests, if the forests are burned and fossil fuels releases carbon dioxide as well. What about geological activity? They release carbon dioxide as well. What about those carbon dioxide taken up by producers during photosynthesis or the making of food in plants and released by cellular respiration? So consumers eat producers. Producers, what are those producers? They are the plants. Consumers eat producers and release carbon dioxide through cellular respiration. Even fossil fuels have carbon as well. They are the sources of carbon, like coal, oil, and natural gas. Okay, we have also carbon in marine sediments. Those marine life that are already dead contain carbon, and they formed into natural gas. Geological activity as well turns marine sediments into rock. So these are some of the ways we have nitrogen cycle. Next one. Okay, this nitrogen cycle also is that all of organisms require nitrogen to make amino acid. What is this amino acid? You know that amino acids are used to build nucleic acid. Miss A, what is this nucleic acids? Nucleic acid is the building block of this or nucleotides are the building blocks of nucleic acids, which is used, yes, for DNA, RNA, and proteins. That's right. So these different forms of nitrogen occur naturally in our biosphere. This is natural, okay? This nitrogen gas, it is 2n sub 2. And it makes up about 78% of the Earth's atmosphere. So what are these nitrogen-containing substances? It can be ammonia, as you can see here, or NH sub 3, nitrate ions, NO sub 3. We have nitrite ions, NO sub 2. They are all found in soil, in the wastes that are produced by many organisms, and even in dead and decaying organic matter. So those are examples. Nitrogen fixation, this is the bacteria that converts nitrogen gas into ammonia. Okay, nitrogen fixation is the process for that one. What about denitrification? When bacteria obtain energy from converting nitrates into nitrogen gas, which is released into the atmosphere, then this process is called denitrification. So what about the recent researchers have found out? They have found out that levels of dissolved nitrogen in the bay have increased. You know that? Given that human activity hasn't changed much, which organisms in the bay do you think might be responsible for this increase of dissolved nitrogen? So this is a question that you can write down, comment below in this video. Next one is phosphorus. Phosphorus is mined. It's turned into fertilizer. Fertilizers are used to put in the plants to give them more nutrients. And this, yeah, and it's applied to crops. Excess may wash into the rivers, streams, and the ocean as runoff. So those are the excess. So what about phosphorus? It's taken up by primary producers and is being reused by consumers and released by excretion and decomposing matter. So these are the phosphorus cycle. Okay, we have the same biological processes. In blue, in orange, we have human processes or human activities, and the geological processes in green. So phosphorus is also important to us living organisms. Why? Because it forms a part of vital molecules such as in our DNA and RNA. Where can we find our DNA? In the nucleus of our cells. Each of us has trillions of cells. Each of us living things, we humans. For some, we have only one celled organisms, but for eukaryotes, yes, you have many. For people, for plants and animals, we have our DNAs, and this is okay, very important for life to function and pass through this DNA to the next generation. So although phosphorus is of great biological importance, it is not abundant in the biosphere. So what does it mean? So unlike what I've discussed a while ago about carbon, oxygen, and nitrogen, phosphorus does not enter the atmosphere. Take note of that. Phosphorus does not enter